Hey y'all, I'm James Wright and
hi!
Oh, look, she's in here. Today we are making dovetails and this will be her first ever dovetail. So let's dive in. We're going to be taking these two boards and putting them together. So you need to figure out which way do you want them to go together. And when you do that, we're going to need to put a mark on the outside of each one. So imagine this is a drawer. We have one corner here, 2, 3, 4. We want to actually have the outsides of all of them marked. And so we'd have front and back and left and right, or whichever way they are. And we'd also have top and bottom of the drawer. So in this case, we want to take these two and lay them out flat. So these are two outside pieces. I'm going to grab a piece of tape, put them on both of them. Once we get both of these marked, in this case, we're going to have side A and B, and so as we went around the door, it would be C and D. And I want to have an arrow pointing towards the front. Oops, let me just put it over here. Front is that way. And this would be like left, or whatever side of the drawer it is. Left is that way. And this way I know that my letters should always be upright. So my letter is always down. Does that make sense? And in this case, I have A and B, and I have this pointing at that, which would be my front. You know, normally I would have these marked as drawers of front, left, back, and right. But in this case, I have A and B, so I should probably put B on this and A on that, but you know, such is life. So in this case, we have their tails, which look like bird tails, and we have our pins. Pins go in between the tails. So we need to make a line on the board down a certain thickness from the end of the board. But in this case, we want that line to be down the thickness of this board. So if I was making it one board thicker than the other, one side of the line would be farther down than the other. So in this case, I'm going to take my marking gauge, you can grab yours, and I'm going to be putting my tails on the A, my pins on the B. So I want to actually put this on here, and I want to know how thick is my board. So I put this flush on there, and then I can tighten this up. And now I have a measurement that is the exact thickness of my board. Does that make sense? See, this marking gauge has this other wheel, so I can lock down this side. And so now as I move this, it moves the fence in and out for micro adjustment. So I can actually micro adjust where it is and then lock down the second one. Now we know the thickness of our board with that mark. Now we want to bring it over to A board, and we want to mark all the way around the end. So, now that we have this on here, we need to actually lay out our tails of what we're going to be cutting, because if we got this on here, you can see our tails we're going to be cutting down to that line.
You had to do it corner to corner and a little bit of it split out.
So, come on over here. What we want to do is lay out where these tails are. I want to have two tails on here. So, what we're going to do is, if this had this corner came out to here, imagine I'd be setting up my divider from that corner there to the far side of this tail. And then when I walked it over, it would go from the far side of this tail to the far side of that tail. And that measurement would be the exact same then, starting from this corner to the far side of that tail and then the far side of that tail. So I want to measure out where is the far side of that tail. So it shouldn't go to the middle of the board. It should always be a little less than the middle of the board. Okay. So in this case, I'm going to set this in here. I'm going to put a little bit of a divot. Just work that in. Come over. Put a little bit of a divot on there. And then I'm going to come over to this side. And I'm going to go a little bit of a divot. A little bit of a divot. And you can see how those are now laid out. These would become my tails. And this would become my extra. Now that's a little big for me. I want to make that a little smaller. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and move it over. Not that much, just about that far. And rather than doing it right in the middle, because all those dots are in the middle, it gets a little confusing. I'm going to bring it over to the side closer to me. And I'm going to go point in. And point in. From this edge, we go point in. and point in.
Those are some big tails.
I kind of like that. See, like on this one, large tails, small pins. This one, pins and tails are kind of equal. So it depends on what you like, and you lay out how big you want them to be.
All right.
So now that we have this on here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to put it in here. And so it's in that divot. Put my square on there. Oop, put it in there. Slide the square up against it. Oop. Put it in the divot. Slide the square up against it. Lock the square in place. And then mark straight across. And it's very important that this not move and that be straight across. So then on all three of these, on all four of those dots, put it in, straight across. Put it in, straight across. It's gonna be a little harder with the knife, but use it like a pencil. Don't grab it. Use it like a pencil. Just like you're holding a pencil with your left hand. There you go.
I don't usually hold a pencil
I know.
with my left hand.
It feels weird. But thankfully, you only have to do it for the one. The rest of them you can flip around and go right-handed with it.
Shoot.
That's close enough. You're okay.
Yay.
Get a close-up on it. No, we get your camera close up. You should get a close-up on it. Darn it, I got that on my camera. So the most important thing is putting that X on the things that you're getting rid of. Because you want to cut on the outside. So I don't want to cut on this. So when I put the saw on it, the very side of my saw will be on that line. But the rest of it will be on this side of that line. And then when I'm on the middle, it'll always be on the inside of that line. Does that make sense? So on this one, what we're going to do is on this one here, I don't want it right on the middle of the line. I want to actually move it over to the side of it a little bit. And so I can pinch the board, and that will allow me to push the saw side to side with my thumbnail here. Let it slide on the thumb. With yours, you're probably going to want it on the back side, on the side closer to you. Look, no, put it down. Pay attention.
I'm paying attention.
No, you're playing with things. Okay, you need to have it on the back side rather than pinching on the front because you are pulling. Okay, so I'm going to put it in here, and I'm going to let it slip. Now I'm connected in, and I'm going to go across the board, staying right on that line. Now I'm stabilized. Now at this point, what I want to do is I want to cut the tail. And so you can see how it's this way. On the outside, they need to aim in towards the middle. On the inside, they need to aim out. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this one. It's leaning that way, and you can choose how much of an angle do you want. I don't want much. So like this is straight. I'm going to move it to like here. And I'm going to cut. And I've gotten to the point where I like that. It's freehand, it's quick and easy. This is the Cat's Moses dovetail jig. And it's got this angle on here. That's the angle we want. What I can do with this is I'm going to do the same thing I did before I started it. I'm going to start it on that line. I'm going to bring this into place, and that holds the saw at the angle. And so this finger is holding it down. Thumb is pinching it between there and there. And then I'm just going to let the saw do its work until I get down to that line. Right there. Does that make sense? Now I could do this side and do it with my left hand. Or I can pick up the whole board, turn it around. And now I can do this side. So I'm going to start it on this, staying on the outside. Clamp the Cat's Moses in there, let the plate hold it. There's my line. And I'm going to cut down to my line. Now this is basically training wheels because you still got to move the saw. You still got to do all the work, but it's a good way to learn sawing by hand. This finger pushes down, thumb and fingers hold it, lock it in place. Step back just a little bit, and step that side just a moment more. That way the handle gets out of your way. All right, now cut it down. You can put a little bit of weight forward on the saw. Bring this finger up like. Elbow in, set the saw there. Think about swinging from your shoulder. Now you're down to your line. Put a little more pressure into it. gotta learn to trust your saw a little bit more. Put a little more weight into it. Those look great. Do the same thing again. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut out these. For freehand cutting, it's the same thing here. I'm starting that line, and I just have a line to follow down this time until that piece falls off. Okay? But if you're using this, it's got another step. This side, we'll put the saw at an angle. We don't want that. But if I turn it 180 degrees, now, except for I'm on the bench, raise it up a little bit more, and have it up high enough so that this doesn't run into the bench. So now, when I put this on here, I can actually cut with that and holds it at 90 degrees for me. It just slides through. The piece is free. I like to put it in a hold fast when practicing. Normally I'm just going to do this free on the bench, but in this case, this just makes it easier so it's not moving around. Then we're going to take a mallet, and I don't want to go right into the line. I'm going to come out a little ways away from the line and give it just a light tap, nothing hard. A light tap. And now I've got that chunk in there, so we can take it from this way. Don't turn it around to come back in this way. Always keep it bevel down. And we take out that piece and take out that piece. Those pop out. And now I can come back again and we can go a little heavier this time and a little heavier this time. And that gets me down a good long ways with this chisel. So we're down almost halfway through the block with just that. So now, before flipping it over, now I'm going to go right into that line. And we're going to go light taps down to the sound changes. Put it right into that line. Light taps. Now that we're down halfway, we can take it out, clean it off, make sure we get all the junk out underneath it. Put the scrap on here and tap that down. So now we can do the same thing from this side and just light tap to start with. Stay away from that line, and then we can bring it back here a little farther away. Remove that. Remove that. Then, oop, that broke through a little faster than I expected, but that'll be fine. Those pieces can come out of there a little bit later once we take it out. And then I can go right into the line. And right into the line. Just like that. So when I loosen it up, now we can take that junk out of there. And we should have a nice clean shoulder in there. Should be square. Inside, you might have a little bit of schmoo in there. You should grab one of your triangulars. And I'll set it in here. And that will allow me to get that stuff at the bottom. Or I can come in at the flat side of this and I can just lightly clean up the face. Get rid of any saw marks that are left on them. And congratulations! At that point, you've now created tails.
Yay!
Now what we want to do is we want to take those tails, we want to put them onto our pins. And we always have our tape here that shows us which way is that way. So it's not going together like this or any other way. There's only one way these can go together. So I'm going to show you the whole process of how to get those. So I like to use 1, 2, 3 blocks. I'm going to have the tape toward me, arrow pointing up. I want to bring this block in, and I want to set it up so that the top of this is nice and flush with the top. It doesn't have to be dead on perfect, but close. And that can lock in. What this allows me to do is move that back, and I can bring this in a little farther away. So now I want to flush up these tails at the face of this board. So I know that's good, but I don't know where it is this way. So once these are flush, then I can come in here and I can use this to flush up that side. Make sure that those still feel flush. And so now I'm flush here, and I'm flush here. I'm going to hold this in place and very, very lightly, because you like to put a lot of weight into this. So I'm just going to come in here and just lightly nick, a little medium. I'm not even going really hard. Just lightly, 1, 2, 3. And then I come over and do this side. 1, 2, 3. Very, very light. And I got those marks on there. Now, before I go any farther, last time we put the mark here, here, and here. We don't want to do that because we need to remove where the tails are at. So without taking anywhere, I'm just going to go mark and mark. I need to take out those pieces. Okay? The next thing we need to do is last time we cut straight down to a depth line, but we haven't put that depth line on here. Now, because our boards are the same thickness, our depth should already be set on there. I just need to put a mark on this face and on this face. Does that make sense? Because I'm not cutting off the ends like we did before. I just need it on the two faces. Now, the last thing is I need marks that I can see where I'm cutting. If I'm freehanding, I want those obvious. If I'm using the jig, they don't have to be quite as obvious. But I can put this on here, and I can put my knife into that mark, slide that up against it, and cut down to my line. Put that in, slide up against it, cut down to the line. Same thing all the way across. Put it into the mark, slide the square up against it, mark down. Then on to the last one. If I want to freehand it, it's exactly the same as I did last time. I'm going to put that on there. I'm going to do it this way. So if I want to freehand it, I can put this on here. Let it slide in, work it across to establish it. And then I'm just looking at this line and following the line straight down. You're off. Straight down to depth. But the nice thing about the cat's Moses is not only can I do this angle and this angle, but if I turn it halfway, now it'll do this angle, as long as it's matching exactly what I cut before. And so now I can cut down to my intended depth. Except for this one, I cut freehand, so I can't do that. So now we need to remove those in between. It's going to be the exact same as we've done before. And the mallet, I'm going to do the same thing we did before, except for I'm going to stay away from the line. Light tap, not heavy at the beginning, just light tap. A little ways away from the line, light tap. A little ways away from the line, light tap. And then, you notice I'm not laying it down at an angle. That's one of the things you were doing. I'm actually keeping it pretty close to vertical, like this. See that big difference between the bevel and the board? Tap, and chop. And then I can go into that line that I've now fully developed, and we can drive that down. I'm also leaning the chisel to match the bevel of the tail. Does that make sense? So, see how it's leaning that way to match that bevel angle. And then I'll bring it back, pop that out. Pop that out. I'm going to do one more. And then I'm actually going to go right into my line. See how I'm holding the chisel? Not death gripping on it. Now I'm into that line. I can flip it over. Rinse and repeat. Make sure you clean up the table.
So no using the turning saw?
Not today.
Okay.
It's more skill than it's worth right now.
I thought it was just like a Like a bowling saw or something, or whatever they're called.
Turning saw is a lot harder.
Really?
Yes.
Doesn't look super hard.
Doesn't look it. Then you can go right into that line.
Surprised with how quickly this has gone by.
They don't take that long.
Yeah, and we're also doing one side, so.
And that's, I can come in with the file, clean up any of those faces, any little schmoo in the corners. And it should fit right off of the saw. Except for in this case, I'll have a pretty gappy one. Well, not as gappy as I'd expect, but not great. So, go do yours.
Okay.
Okay, whoa. Okay, I gotta check this. Melody just did hers on her camera, so if you actually want to see it going together. But Melody, bring that over here. Bring that over here. So, this is Melody's first dovetail. And this is right off of the saw. She didn't do any fitting. Rotate it a little bit so we can see. A little bit of a gap here and there. But that's her first ever dovetail. Holy cow. Someone has a good smile. Nice work, Mel. So, there you have it. Melody's first dovetail. So this is kind of a fun one-on-one class. And yeah, if you want to see what hers actually looks like, you need to go over to her channel. Because Melody here at 14 just graduated from high school. And what does she want to do? She wants to become a YouTuber. So she's actually starting a channel and as of this week going full time. So we're trying to encourage people to go over to her channel and take a look at it because she's going to be putting out videos quite regularly come this summer. She's going to take a few weeks off for things going on. But yeah, if you want to see her first ever dovetail, go take a look at Melody's workbench. There'll be links down below. You'll know where to find them. So I do want to say, everyone, thank you for coming and watching the channel. If you have any thoughts, likes, ideas, share them down below. It does help out the channel. You know all that thing. But I really want to say a big special thank you to everyone over there on the other side of Melody. Those are some of the patrons on Patreon, particularly the man. You may have noticed I didn't stop this video halfway through with some schmo from Temu or whatnot. That's because I'm completely sponsored by you. And if you'd like to help out the channel and keep us from doing those ad spots, then think about becoming a patron on Patreon or a member down below. You guys are the ones that literally make this happen. And without you, we wouldn't be here. So thank you for that. But I think that'll do it for now. And until next time, have a wonderful day.
Bye!
Yeah, that's right. You guys just watched a video about a guy doing a joint with his daughter.
I don't get the joke.
Good.